Episode: Leadership Training and Global Tours. Leader Point, Emerging Leaders, and EA Switzerland. Well, we have covered a lot of techie stuff in the last several episodes. So let's shift the focus more towards leadership and, of course, more wild adventures. I was fortunate to have had the opportunity to attend several leadership training courses while working for Electronic Arts and Microsoft. I'd like to share a few of the top experiences and insights that I recall. One course, taught by a now defunct group, then called Leader Point, stood out to me for several reasons. One, half of the course was in the lens of the United States military and its command and control structure. They used an old US Army propaganda film as a study reference. The film was known or called as 12 O'Clock High. The other half of the course was about abstract ideas, like what if Robin Hood was running a business called the Merry Men, and he had to pay for people's salaries, for their housing, for their clothing, and feed everyone. What would Robin Hood's business look like, and how might he improve it? Could he delegate to other sub-Robin Hoods, like franchises? The Leader Point course offered homework to read about historical failures and success stories. They provided a lot of stories to read about. One example was empowering nurses in a clinic to make decisions, versus always waiting for a doctor to make decisions for them or their patients. When nurses felt they were equal to doctors, in terms of at least their responsibility, even if they were not practicing as doctors, their performance apparently went up significantly, and the clinic's probability and profitability for engaging and succeeding with patients went likewise substantially up. The idea is used frequently, like employee-owned businesses, or games by gamers for gamers, etc. The culmination of the Leader Point course were two epiphanies for me. Leadership is more about thinking than it is about doing. Leadership is the willingness to act on incomplete but sufficient knowledge, on just enough information. In another leadership course that I was attending, they offered a great insight for me. The instructor asked the class to react to a scene. He declared that he would play the role of the boss, and he voluntold one of the classmates that they would play the role of the employee. I always joked about being voluntold to do something. I like those kinds of questions. How would you like to clean up that pile of dog poo? Now, who would want to clean up a pile of dog poo? The question is obviously rhetorical. It is effectively a directive, a command. Asking a question like, do you want to clean up a mess, is being voluntold. Therefore, you volunteered because you were told to volunteer. Ergo, you were voluntold. Well, anyway, so the boss, as an actor, the teacher left the room, and then the instructor returned, entering the room. He was acting gruffly, scoffing, and he glared at the employee. He scowled, and then he walked out of the room. And after a short while, the instructor returned once more, and he asked, what was going on with the boss? Well, all the answers that people had proposed to explain why the boss was candidly a jerk and very rude to the employee were wrong. Or at least so the instructor said. He explained that the boss had his dog run over by a car that morning, so his attitude had nothing to do with the employee or the company or any project. And the employee's reaction, taking it personally, was entirely misplaced. The instructor suggested things could be worse yet. What if the boss just lost his child or was going through a terrible and nasty divorce? He emphasized You never know what's going on with anyone, even people that you work with every single day. You should always challenge your assumptions about other people and how they're thinking and what they're possibly going to do. The lesson was simple. Take your time to understand what's going on with projects and people, and assume good intent, and offer compassion before casting judgment or being defensive. I went on a 5-week EA Electronic Arts global tour for what they called the Emerging Leaders Program. It was a prerequisite to becoming a vice president within Electronic Arts, and so it was an honor to be selected for it. The goal was to visit at least one EA studio in each major region throughout the world. I'm going to share the tale of EA Switzerland because it was by far the most different of Electronic Arts studios and game publishers that I've ever been to or witnessed in the entire world throughout my entire career. I was cautioned ahead of time that Switzerland was going to be pricey, notably more expensive than anywhere that I had been within the United States or the United Kingdom. But it was the cost of doing business. So expenses would be paid, whatever they were. They would be reimbursed. Well, a street side vendor that was selling hot dogs. I thought maybe I would have one when I was there in Switzerland, having just landed, headed to the hotel. Well, the hot dog was stupid expensive. It was $20 for a single hot dog, which did not even include a drink. Well, I had a new barometer, a metric to gauge the cost of living in an area, the price of a hot dog. Yeah, the hot dog price metric was a clear indicator of the local cost of living. And the hot dog price metric proved to be extraordinarily accurate over my lifetime. And in Switzerland, it demonstrated it was accurate as well. Everything was stupid expensive. Well, there were many retail shops all around Electronic Arts Switzerland building. But virtually all of them were effectively closed. Well, to us, to me. They had signs in the windows that all said, by appointment only. And yet there were people doing absolutely nothing inside, just sitting or standing around, chatting with each other. There were no customers to be seen, none inside. And in every of these shops, there was at least one security guard. Later, I learned from an EA Switzerland employee that the shops are so upscale, they run a background and credit check before you are even allowed to enter and browse their merchandise, much less to buy something. That's right, Switzerland retailers were that elitist. I had never witnessed that kind of caste system, such total rejection of even the middle class, and an immense disdain for the poor. It was surreal. I was surprised to learn that Electronic Arts Switzerland operated out of an old bank. It was posh. It made the excessive EA Canada Worldwide studios with a living tree growing up through the center at the 17th floor, through the 20th floor, in a skyscraper look pedestrian and not very special at all. EA Switzerland screamed, money, 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 and success and more money. Well, Electronic Arts used the bank's massive vault as a huge conference room, and they named it playfully Ocean's 12, at the time in homage to the movie called Ocean's 11. I suspect they did not anticipate there would be so many sequels that would even surpass their imagined sequel of Ocean's 12. Even with the vault's massive door bolted open to the wall, it was intimidating. Going inside the vault and having its normal doors that were later added in lieu of the massive vault door closed shut, it felt incredibly claustrophobic, to say the least. But it was cool. I spent most of my time in EA Switzerland down in the vault. EA Switzerland did not have a development arm within its studio. It was pretty much exclusively marketing, sales, and distribution. It was the command center for marketing, sales, and distribution for Electronic Arts worldwide. EA Switzerland was the hub of EA European finances, as well as its marketing and sales. EA Switzerland was flush with cash. Well, this feels like a natural place to end this episode. So, look forward to the next episode where we will focus on lessons learned down in the vault.